And then last but not least, we're going to have Josh Mueller talking about how to maximize orders through handling objections. Josh is just a tactician when it comes to working with customers, answering objections, pre-framing things in such a way that he handles concerns before they get a chance to blossom into being an objection that has to be dealt with later in it. And there's no one better to talk about it. Now, I want to share numbers with y'all real quick. If you're wondering how many orders per day we wrote up last year as a team, we averaged as a state fair team 7.69 orders a day. All right, that is how many we averaged, 7.69 orders a day. Now, the good news is that equaled up to like $2.2 million in sales. That's a lot of CPO. We sold all the knives, okay? But when you actually look at the guys that we have on this call right now, when we've got these warriors right here, and that team average is made up of each and every single one of you that worked the fair last year. This is not a TGP average. This is an entire state fair team average. So every single one of you were in there. Josh came in at 11 orders a day. Okay, so now you're talking 40% higher, 50% higher. Instead of getting 7.5, Josh was over 11. Now, here's what's cool. If we could get all of us on that level, if all of us could go out there and close like Carlton, and we did 10 orders a day, all right, then instead of 3,700 orders last year, we would have 4,810 orders. And all of a sudden, what that would equate to with our same 600 average order size would be $2.9 million in sales. We didn't need any more customers. We didn't need a bigger fair. If we just were more efficient with our interactions, if we just did a better job of capturing people and converting them into orders, we would have sold an extra $675,000 last year alone. And this crew here would have profited an extra $300,000. Guys, we would have profited a modest home together. All right. And that is what I want this year. But I don't want a modest home. I want us to do the crap that they taught us last month. So we have higher averages and to close like they were last year. And all of us do that. And we get a nice home collectively, or we just distribute it according to our sales. That's probably a lot more logical choice. But our final speaker kind of on this topic about really maximizing the day through just getting a ton of orders and us getting on that level is going to be Josh Mueller. And he's going to be talking about maximizing your orders per day through handling objections. And, you know, this is just such an area of strength when it comes to Josh. So to go ahead and kind of take us home on this topic, let me turn it over to my good friend and our fearless leader, Mr. Josh Mueller.
Thank you, Brian. Let's rock and roll, everybody. Two things I want to share before I even dive into my 3 keys for you today, but 2 things related to mindset. When it comes to objections, there's 2 things that we need to stop doing. Number 1, don't be surprised when you get objections. Be prepared when you get objections, okay? I mean, I know the perfect demo is exactly what we're all in the hunt for, right? We're all in the hunt for that perfect demo. Yes, 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 perfect customer, perfect everything. And then they go, yes, we'll take it. And we're like, yes, that was awesome. I must be the greatest salesperson on the planet because that went perfect. But then so many of us get so good at our job that when it doesn't go perfect, dirty little secret, most of the freaking time, right? We feel bad about it. We shame ourselves. We get upset. We get frustrated. We get all these sorts of things. And it's all because we just expect ourselves to be perfect all the time. When the reality is that the majority of people, no matter how perfect you are, no matter how great your demo is, no matter how into it they are, the majority of people literally met you minutes ago, didn't expect or plan to be buying any knives. And then minutes later, you're so good at what you do that they're seriously considering investing thousands of dollars with you. It just happens to be in the back of their brain. They're asking themselves, am I batshit crazy for even considering this right now? And that is absolutely normal, people. I would probably be thinking the same thing if I was standing on the other side of the booth from you while you were demoing me on Cutco for the first time. Why? I'm high banker. I'm very numbers oriented. I'm very investment focused. I'm looking for value, right? I don't give a crap about the price. I will pay full price for something if I think I'm getting the value out of it that I'm looking for the rest of my life. Now, my wife, she's absolutely the opposite. She wants a good deal. She will do her research. She will go to Amazon and 15 other websites. She'll take the extra 15 minutes to make sure she's getting the best deal possible right now. So what do you do when you've got 2 people in 2 completely opposite mindsets? By the way, that's the majority of our customers. So write this down, mindset wise, don't be surprised, be prepared. Expect that even the perfect demo will be followed up by some level of objections, uncertainty, unsuredness, some level of questioning, some level of hesitation from your customers. And don't be surprised by it. Expect it and be prepared for how you're going to show up to it when it presents itself. Second thing I want to share with you on a mindset standpoint, don't be a dick. Be bulletproof confident and solution oriented when you're handling objections. Okay. So many of us, it's like, I spent 5 minutes with you. What the heck is wrong with you? Why are you giving me this bullshit objection? Oh, that is such a smokescreen. Right? We get this whole attitude about stuff when it's totally not necessary. Right? So here's the great thing. When you actually expect that you're going to get objections and you're fully prepared for how you're going to handle them when they present themselves, guess what happens? It's a lot easier to be a little bit more casual about it, to not be surprised by it, to not feel like you're wasting your time. Get this, guys, you might have just spent 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes getting to that point with the customer. And if you keep your cool and you keep your confidence and you allow yourself to be bulletproof, guess what? It might only be a matter of 3 to 5 more minutes before you've got the credit card in your hand. But you have to handle it properly. You have to do it with grace. You have to do it with respect, with love, with care, with appreciation. And that is the biggest challenge as a salesperson. Because here's what I've learned. I've learned that sometimes our best quality customers, the people who could and would and want to buy the most from us, are actually the ones who will test us the most when we hit this point in our sales approach, just to see how we'll show up, just to see if we're as good and as committed and as service and customer centric, focused, oriented as we say we are, or to see if it's just a front. Think about this, right? If you're the perfect salesperson and they love you and everything's great, all the way up to the point where they're like, okay, do you have a card? We're going to think about it. And then suddenly your energy shifts from perfection to desperation, desecration, asshole, whatever other word you want to use to describe it or label. Guess what that customer now knows about you? Ah, that was all just a front. I really liked them until I gave them the test, right? So what do? I just assume all customers are testing me. No big deal, right? So let's talk about the 3 keys to handling objections and maximizing your number of orders per day by handling objections. Number 1, anticipate their objections and pre-handle them, right? What are the most common things we hear when it comes to objections with customers? Post them in the chat box right now. I bet all of you could get 100% on this test. Like this pop quiz, literally 100%. There's 2 common things that we hear more often than anything else when we do a great demo and they still have some sort of a holdup at the end, right? I want to walk around and think about it. Yep, exactly. And I want to talk to my spouse. Thank you, Adam Conroy. Nice job. So yes, so think about it and talk to the spouse. So let's talk about that. Be prepared for these. Expect them. Don't be surprised by them. Be rehearsed, be practiced in responding productively and in a way that is low key, but also confident and direct. Write those down, right? So here's the keys. If you want to be really great at handling these objections, be practiced in responding to them productively and in a way that's low key, but also confident and direct. Those are the 3 things you need, right? You need low key, you need confident, and you need direct. How do you get there? You rehearse, you practice, you do this all summer long. So by the time you hit your highest value shifts at the fairs, it's like normal for you. Like Carlton said, be more conversational. Have your mid game so strong that by the time you get to the end, if they do bring up these objections, you're able to circle back to the mid game conversation that you had with them where you got this information out up front. So get good at these things. I'm not going to tell you what to say to a spouse or how to do it, whatever. I'll give you a little bit of that. But you guys, there's plenty of training out there. You probably already know these things. You've already heard me talk about them. I want to give you the nuances, right? So get good at noticing when people are there by themselves and are also wearing a wedding ring. Do you even pay attention to people's wedding rings? Do you even know whether or not your clients are married before you even start a conversation with them? If not, it's because you're just not paying attention. I always know when there's a solo person standing in front of me who is also wearing a wedding ring. I know it before we even start the conversation. It's a trigger in my mind because I've trained myself to look for it. It's what my mentor Brendan refers to as a door frame trigger. Allow yourself to discipline yourself to recognize door frame triggers, right? So a door frame trigger for me is, are they wearing a ring or not? Are they married or not? Is this person here with me without their spouse, or are they here on their own because they're single, they're not wearing a ring? Now, sometimes I get fooled. I get that customer who's not wearing the ring, but they're also married. So I always just ask, I don't assume, but I always ask them when they're there in front of me with a ring on and not with their spouse, hey, who does most of the cooking at home? I mean, this is just conversational. It's up in the very beginning. It's usually when I'm getting prepped to actually do the demo, handing them a table knife, getting some leather out, whatever. Hey, by the way, I'm just curious, like, who does most of the cooking at home? Any answer, whatever they give me, whether it's them, their spouse, whatever, great. Hey, I'm just curious, does your husband, does your wife trust you to make decisions for the kitchen? And so many people are like fearful of this question, like, oh my God, what if I offend them? Who cares? By the way, you know how many people have been offended by me asking that question? Literally thousands of conversations, zero. I've had zero people be like, why are you asking me that? Right? It's just a conversation, right? I'm just curious, like, does your spouse let you make decisions for the kitchen? Right? That's it. And you know what most people tell me? Yeah, I make all the decisions. Oh, high five. We're going to have a ton of fun today. Right? It's just funny how like most people don't ask it out of scarcity or fear. I just ask it as if like, hey, this is no big deal. Business as usual. It's just information I need to have, right? When the spouse cooks, here's my response. That's cool. How would you rate their cooking? Get into a fun conversation with them, right? Hey, how would you rate their cooking? Are they trash? Are they good? Are they great? And then whatever they say, your response is, oh, so they could really benefit from having an upgrade in the kitchen. I'm just curious. Have they ever mentioned it would be nice to have better kitchen stuff? So, oh, that's cool. How would you rate their cooking? Is it trash? Is it good? Is it great? Oh, okay. So they really could benefit from having an upgrade in the kitchen. I'm just curious, have they ever mentioned it would be nice to have better kitchen stuff? Now, I don't care what their response to that question is. I'm asking that question because their response just gives me the information I need to help frame my demo moving forward. Plain and simple, right? If they're like, oh, their cooking is great, and no, they've never mentioned it, I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. So who does most of the sharpening? Do they sharpen? Like, do you sharpen? Do you ever notice when you use the knives that they're pretty dull? Or do you ever notice when you use the cookware that it's all getting worn out? It's just kind of trashy. Well, it's really nice that your husband doesn't complain about that. Have you ever considered this as a gift? Have you ever considered giving them a really nice gift that they'll use every day for the rest of their life? Now I'm going to frame everything towards the spouse buying it for their spouse as a gift because their spouse is the one who does all the cooking, right? So it's just about getting the information so I can frame everything up for them. So, so when they cook, oh, awesome, we're going to have fun today. I'm just curious, how long has the kitchen stuff just not been cutting it for you? Notice too how I'm replacing the word knives, like most of us ask, with the word kitchen stuff. Why? Because we're Cutco Kitchen focused right now. Second thing is get great at the stall close and keeping that entire conversation low key. When people want to think about it, when they want to walk around, when they ask you if you have a card, all of these things, totally normal, no big deal, but just be really great at how to conduct that conversation and how to do so in a way where they are not feeling pressured. They're not feeling like the tone or the energy of the conversation is changing, but in a way where they feel like you're just curious, you're just getting information, you're just doing your job, and you're just trying to, most importantly, help them get what they want and what they need. So you know your stall close is really great when customers don't back away from the booth while you're talking, while you're working through it, when customers aren't like trying to rush away from you because they're feeling pressured, when customers are really like leaning in, they're staying present, they're answering your questions, they're having a casual, fun conversation. And you do this by, pre-framing things with, hey, I'm just curious. Hey, one quick question for you before you go. Right? I love to use, it's sort of a push away close, what Curtis talks about, but it's a push away phrase like, hey, before you go really quick, let me just ask you one more question, right? What I'm doing there is I'm giving them permission to leave and then using the question to keep them there and draw them back into the conversation. So they feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to go here in just a second, but I can answer one more question. And I just make sure it's the best damn question I could possibly ask in that moment to get the information I need to go, oh, I'm so glad you told me that, because now I think I can work with that. Hey, since you told me that, like, I've got something else I could probably show you that I think you should at least know about before you go. So while you're walking around and thinking about it, you at least know what your options are. And they're like, oh, there's options? Yeah, cool. Okay, I'll hear another option. And so often people hear the other option, they go, oh, I could do that. I'm like, really? Oh, okay, high five, let's do that. And I act all surprised, even though I know they were probably going to say yes to that because I just kept them around a little bit longer to have a conversation. But here's how you master the stall close. I'm just going to give you a link to a document. Thank you to credit to Bert Wicks, who's actually been working with this on his team. North Star Division's been working their butt off because they know that the stall close is where reps are really great at learning how to sell ultimates and present sets and do the demo. They're really great at that. But what they're not really great at is keeping people at the booth in a way that doesn't feel high pressure and still leads to the customer getting an order. And literally, you just use this document. It gives you the 7 or 8 questions you always want to ask in the stall close, exactly where they're at. It even explains why these questions are important, why we're asking them, what they actually do for us. And then there's actually Luke Mills's script of exactly how he scripted out the entire stall close and how he says it with these 7 questions or 8 questions in there. And it's just money. So thank you, Bert, for putting this thing together and being willing to share it with everybody, since you're sharing it with your team. Now, then there's the random weird things based on their situation, based on their personality, things like that, right? So when these things happen, I usually just take a step back and I ask a qualifying question. So, outside of the 2 most common questions, it's the weird stuff, right? So, hey, I'm just curious, right? I love prefacing a quality question with, hey, I'm just curious. And it can go any direction. But I want to be a decision-focused, I want it to be a decision-focused question. So I'll give you a couple examples here just so you kind of understand it. And then I would encourage you to actually think about what are the weird, random, crazy objections that you get, and what are the quality questions that you can ask that are framed in a way where they're decision-focused. So for example, for me, hey, if I could help you find something you love, would use every day, and you'll have the rest of your life, would you even be open to spending, or could you spend $80 to $150 or $200 today if you really wanted to, right? Hey, would you be open to spending $80 to $150 or $200 today? Could you spend $80 to $150 or $200 today if you really wanted to? I love this question because it just puts people on the spot. I've literally had people like, hey, we're going to walk around, think about it, and step away. And I'll be like, hey, cool, no problem if that's what you guys need to do. I don't mind, no problem at all. But before you go, really quick, I'm just curious, I know you walked up saying that you needed new knives. It seems like you really like them. You'd use them. If I could help you find something that you love, you would use every day, and you'll have the rest of your life, would you even be open to spending $80 to $150 today if you really wanted to? And they're like, well, yeah, if I really wanted to, I'd be open to it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then that leads me to the next step where I can just, okay, cool. Can I take a quick second just to show you what I've got that fits that price range for you? And now I've got permission, and now I'm going to show them another option, and more than likely I'm going to close it. I love this question here. Hey, do you like what you see here? Great. If I could help you find something you love and use every day and have the rest of your life, would you be open to getting something while you're here today? Right? It's the same question asked a little bit different way and maybe at a different spot. Hey, just so I know, is there something specific that you're looking for or needing in your kitchen right now? Hey, just so I know, is there something specific that you're looking for or needing in your kitchen right now? This is a question I like to ask earlier on in the mid game where, I'm getting that customer, it's kind of drawing back. They're not really that engaged, or I'm asking pre-closing questions, like I'm asking the confirmation questions, and they're just not really responding very well to them. They're kind of hemming and hawing. They're sort of on the fence. They're sort of beating around the bush. They're not really being direct. They're not really being open. They're just the random weird situation, right? So, oh yeah, I saw online that Cutco's, $1,000. I'm not going to spend $1,000 on knives today. Oh, okay, cool. I'm just curious. Is there something specific that you are looking for or needing in your kitchen right now? Okay, great. Or you get that customer that in the middle of your demo, they keep interrupting you and asking you random questions that have nothing to do with what you're showing them. Okay, cool. Hey, really quick, let me just check in with you. I'm just curious, is there something specific that you are looking for or needing in your kitchen right now? Main thing is simply Don't ignore, just address stuff, right? So whatever it is, if they're like, oh, I would never spend that kind of money. Oh, okay, cool. Hey, just so you know, you don't have to spend that kind of money to get Cutco. So have you been thinking about upgrading your kitchen stuff? You have been? Okay, great. Well, while you're here, can I just take a quick minute before you go to show you some of our other options that most of our customers like to do that don't cost $2,000, $1,500, $500? I'm sure you'd agree, Brian, that having some Cutco is like a few pieces of Cutco would be way better, or having some Cutco is way better than having a whole set of crappy stuff like what you're dealing with right now. Am I right? Yeah? Okay, great. Well, let me take a quick minute just to try to help you out, and let's at least see what's available here. So once you know your options, you can tell me whether or not something could work for you. Sound okay? Yeah. Boom. Also, listen closely and frame things toward them throughout. So small adaptations, small nuances, for example. When I have someone by themselves, their spouse does the cooking, I'll frame everything as a great gift idea for their spouse. And I'll ask questions early about gifting occasions coming up, posed as report questions. Things like, hey, do they have a birthday coming up? How long have you guys been married? When is your anniversary? How have you gotten them a nice anniversary gift yet? Or a nice birthday gift yet? Or a nice Father's Day gift yet? Or a nice Christmas gift yet? Or a nice Thanksgiving gift yet? Or a nice just because gift yet? Whatever they say, right? Obviously, I don't ask that string of questions all in a row like that. I just pick one, whatever the closest gift giving occasion is. If there's not one close, the just because gift, right? I just ask that question. And most people are like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. And when somebody's like, yeah, actually, I did get them a nice anniversary gift yet, or already. I'm like, oh, cool. What'd you get them? Wow, that's awesome. And you know what? Usually it is. It's something nice. It's something quality. It's something that they wanted. Oh, okay, that's awesome. Well, hey, how about the next gift giving occasion? What's the next one after that? Oh, well, there's blah, 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 coming up. Oh, okay. Have you gotten them a nice gift for that yet? Oh, great. Well, hey, we can make you wife of the year. We can make you husband of the year. I got a gift show I work every year in November where most of what I sell is wives, homemakers, and signatures for their husbands as Christmas gifts. And every single one of them is like, he does the cooking. I don't have anything to do with it. I want to talk to him about it first. Or I want him to like pick it out. And what's funny is, even though I posed and framed everything as a great gift idea for him, when I get to the end, their objection is, well, you know, I might want him to pick the color. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. If that's what you want to do, it's totally cool. But hey, I know we talked earlier about you doing this as a gift. Is this something where you want to spoil the surprise? Or would you rather give him something nice, have him be completely surprised, and then if he wants a different color, just know it's easy to swap it out when that time comes. Oh, can I just swap it out? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I do a 30-day money-back guarantee for all my customers from the time you give the gift, not from the time that you buy it. Oh, you do that? That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah. So if you know, what color do you think he'd pick if he was here? You know him better than I do. He'd probably pick the dark. Okay, great. Then let's go with the dark. And then if you get it, give it to him. And he's like, oh, I'd rather have the red, or I'd rather have the white. No problem. Just call me up. I'll swap it out. We'll make it easy. Right? It's like, guys, it's pretty simple, right? It's making sure you have that mid game like Carlton was talking about on point. So number 2, creating an environment where they feel comfortable and confident. What does that look like? Comfortable and confident. That's the second tip I want to give you, second key to this, right? We have to create an environment where the customer feels comfortable and they feel confident. They will not make a decision today if they don't feel comfortable. They also will not make a decision today if they don't feel confident in making that decision. So it's our job, our role is to create an environment where we're staying in rapport, we're in that bubble alongside them the whole time. They feel like we have their best interests in mind at all times. And most importantly, we're helping them feel comfortable and confident. If they have any objection, any hesitation, any reason that they still want to think about it, or wait a minute, or walk around, or talk to somebody else, or whatever, do the research, whatever it is, it just means that they're either not comfortable or they're not confident. So how do we do that, right? How do we create that environment for them? So always be selling towards the idea that you're there to help them out and do what's best for them. You'll hear me say things like, hey, let me show you your options so you can tell me what would work best for you. Sound good? Hey, before you go, I've got one other option I think might work better for you. Let me go ahead and show you that. That way you know what your options are, and you can at least tell me what you think what you think the best option would be for you when you come back. Sound good? Okay, great. Notice how I'm giving them subconscious permission to go away and come back, knowing that once I show them the other option that is perfect for them, they're probably going to say yes to that and not have to walk around and think about it. The great thing is, after I drop down, because I notice I'm not on the perfect package yet, when I show them that other option, well, if they still want to think about it, I still have the stall closed up my sleeve, because I'm taking a minute to find out from them first, what is it that's really holding you back? And that's the next point of this. Get curious first, solve second. Be a great listener. Don't be a good listener. Don't just be a listener. Be a great freaking listener. Be the absolute best listener you could possibly be. This requires that you're asking questions, even if they're difficult questions. So here's two of my favorite questions that I like to ask when I'm handling objections, when I'm in closing, when I feel that hesitation from the client, right? So, hey, I'm just curious. It seems to me you like this, you would use this, and you want to get it, but there's still something that you're just not sure about, or something that's still holding you back. Am I reading that right? Okay, no worries. So if you don't mind me asking, what is it that you're still not sure about? What is it that's still holding you back? Right? And that's one question, just two different ways to ask it. Either way works just fine, but just get good at mixing it up, get good at asking both questions, get good at this. And what's funny is you're creating an environment where, hey, I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong. I'm not trying to argue with you, debate with you. I'm not trying to convince you that I'm right, you're wrong, or that you should do something different. All I'm doing is getting curious first. And then I shut the F up. I listen to what they're saying. I empathize. Oh, hey, yeah, no worries. It's totally normal. It's totally cool. No big deal. This is absolutely normal. Most people feel this way. Like, empathize, right? Help them feel understood. And then work with them to find the perfect solution. Now, here's a cool critical tool here, right? When someone tells you what's holding them back, always repeat back to them what you're hearing them say, but do it strategically. Okay. What do I mean by that? So here's what I say. Oh, okay. That's cool. And no worries at all. So what I'm hearing you say is that you blank, blank, and blank. Fill in those three blanks with the positive things that they're not saying. So get that. So, and then I say, but you're just not blank. And the last blank I'm filling in with their objection. So there's some strategy to this. What do I mean by that? So when someone tells me what's really holding them back, it's usually the money, or they're just not sure that they want to, do all of this all once, or they're not sure they would use it all once, or they're not sure they want to have such a big payment, or they're not sure they want to commit for so long. It's usually this one thing. If you've done a good job, there's usually one thing that's really kind of on their mind. So what I'm doing is what I call listening between the lines. What do I mean by that? Listening between the lines is I'm also listening to, what are they not saying that they do want, or that is good about this? So when I say, like, yeah, I'm just not really sure that I want to budget that much for knives right now. I mean, it's a lot of money for knives. I go, oh, okay. So that's really cool, by the way, no problem. Most people actually don't buy the whole set all at once. It's absolutely normal. But let me ask you this. So what I am hearing you say is, I'm hearing you say that you like it, you'd use it, and you want to get it. You're just not sure you want to budget that much for knives right now. And they're like, yeah, yeah, exactly what I'm saying. I do like it. I would use it. I do want to get it. It is just that one thing that's holding me back right now. Oh, okay, cool. I'm so glad you told me that. Right? So repeat back to them the three positive things they're not saying, and then the one negative thing they are saying, so that they feel understood by you. So then I just say, oh, cool. I'm glad you told me that, because I wouldn't want you to get a whole set of knives and have half of them sitting there collecting dust and not using them, because then you're not going to like me. Or I wouldn't want to be the reason that, like, things are tight and really hard in your budget for the next couple of months, because then you're probably not going to like me very much. And now I'm immediately getting on their side, having a conversation about exactly what we can do to solve that problem for them then. And that's where I'm going to move into solutions. So tell you what, I've had a lot of clients who felt the same way, and what I've found can help them is blank. So before you go, can I just take a quick minute to show you an option that we found works great for our customers in the same situation? So, and I can fill in that blank with anything. Like, is our build a set program, is our upgrade program, is, starting with something smaller they are comfortable getting without their husband here, So that way you can get used to Cutco, he can fall in love with it. And once he does, then you can just upgrade the rest of the set later and get the whole rest of the set for the difference in cost. So before you go, can I just take a quick minute to show you an option that we found works great for our customers in the same situation? Sure. Okay, boom. Good to go. Also, use staging and framing at the front. So I love selling this way. This is kind of my opening game, if you will. And I love referencing what Carlton's sharing today because it just resonates so well. But part of my opening game is, hey, I like what I've been finding working really well for me is, it's like something I've always done on appointments when goal sharing. And it always takes the pressure off and gets into a buying atmosphere, buying mindset, instead of a whether or not I'm going to buy today, right? So they go from whether or not I'm going to buy today to, well, let's just figure out how much I'm going to spend. And I found it really helps at the booth too. So like, when I'm getting ready to do my demo, I say, hey, by the way, whether or not you want to get anything today while you're here is up to you because we're not high pressure here. So that said, we have a lot of clients who are shopping with us here at the blank event, right? Because we're, and then I throw out some incentive or urgency. We're trying to break like the national record right now, or we've got some really great package pricing we're doing for our customers here at the show, or whatever it is, right? Some people like to sell on discounts and price. So we're doing the best specials that you'll ever find on Cutco forever and ever for the rest of your life. So I'm going to rock bottom out everything for you. It doesn't matter what you say, just know what you say and know why you say it and be committed to it and disciplined about it, right? So it's just this, whether or not you want to get in today while you're here is up to you because we're not high pressure here. But that said, we have a lot of clients who are actually shopping with us here at the fair because we're doing some really great exclusive package pricing since we sponsor the event. So if you see anything that you like, let me know and I'll be happy to show you our package pricing for the fair. Sound good? Okay, great. What I love about this, it takes the pressure off. And now we can just focus on having a good time. We can focus on doing a great demo, having fun, being informative, like creating a conversation that I know will lead to them showing interests, telling me what their needs are, and me being able to help solve problems and challenges that they're dealing with. So the last thing I'll share with you on this particular section before I wrap this up is be direct. Sometimes the best way to help someone feel confident and comfortable is with your own confidence. Everyone has a different way of doing this. Chelsea loves that Southern drawl and those goofy things that she says to sound cute and innocent, even though we all know she's being super stealthy behind the scenes, right? Brian loves to lean into the rapport that he has and connect with the future vision of the negative or the positive experience they'll have as a result of whatever choice they make. And then he usually pulls out his family picture and talks about his kids, and then they go on and they hand him his credit card. Seth loves to tell funny jokes and share real stories of clients that he has or personal experiences that he has to illustrate a point and handle an objection and help someone feel more comfortable. But they're all being very direct, but doing so in a way that's comfortable and personal and like retaining that rapport that they've created with the customer up to that point. What matters most is that you're willing to say what needs to be said and do so in a way that isn't debating or arguing with them, but instead is empathizing with why they might feel that way and shares another perspective for them to consider. Hey, I understand what you're saying, and that makes sense based on what you're telling me. I also know you said earlier that you're able to make the decisions for the kitchen and that you seem really like, it really seems like you actually want this stuff. Plus, it sounds like you really benefit from having that set. So I also know that if you can find a way to make this work, you're going to love it because you're going to have it the rest of your life and you're never going to regret this decision. So I'm just curious. If I could find something here that you will love, use every day, and you're totally comfortable budgeting for, would you consider getting something while you're here right now? Right. And I mean, I just kind of did that off the cuff right there. But, it's basically like practice this, get the music to it. And there's a million different ways that you could fill in the blanks on this and use it to your advantage. But have fun with it. When they're saying one thing and then saying another thing, don't hesitate to call that out. Stay in rapport, of course, but when they, say this right now and they said that earlier, that was totally the opposite. I'm like, oh, hey, cool. So I know you're saying that right now, but earlier you said this. So I'm just curious, like, which one is it for you? Right? Oh, my husband would kill me. Oh, really? Does he have a history of violence? Ha ha ha, big smile. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm actually saying is blank. Oh, okay, cool. So, hey, I'm just curious, like if he was here with you right now, I know earlier you said that you're able to make the decisions for the kitchen, but if he was here with you right now, what do you think he would say? If he saw the same demo, got to see all the same, get all the same information, got to cut the leather, all that, what would he say? Well, he'd probably just tell me to get it. Cool, so should we just do it? Right? When one spouse is in and the other's on the fence, focus on the one on the fence by empowering them to take the leap and pointing out that the other is on the same page and ready to go. Hey, it looks like they're 100% on board. Maybe we should take advantage of that while we have the chance and get this checked off the list. So what are you still unsure about? Let me see if I can help while they're in a good mood. Sound good? Okay, boom. Most of us, what we do is we tend to lean into the person that's on the same page with us, and now we're ganging up against the other person who's still on the fence. I like to do the opposite. Hey, they're taken care of. They're all in. I got to work on getting her bet on the table now. So I'm going to team up with her. I'm going to empower her. I'm going to leverage the fact that their spouse is 100% in. And I'm going to tell them that it's okay if they want to get it today because they're in. I'm also going to look at them. You're cool with that, right? If she said she wants to get it, are you cool with her getting it? Yes. Okay, now that's been verbalized. Hey, you know what? They're in a really good mood today. Maybe we should take advantage of that. Seems like you want it. You'd use it. You'd love to have it. So what can we do to make this happen for you? Have fun, be honest with people while also being kind and respectful. I love this video. I don't have time to show it to you guys, but Seth shared it with me on Instagram recently. It was actually a couple months ago, but it's just, I go back to it multiple times. It's just a very confident way of handling objections creatively. So finally, find creative solutions that they feel great about, even if it's not everything that they want ideally. So always be selling the next option as simply a step in the right direction. Remember that people don't want to give up what they really want for only part of that, unless we help them feel confident and comfortable that they won't lose anything by doing so. So guys, the upgrade program, the build-a-step programs, these are clutch. And when you do a great job getting them sold on the bigger packages, people won't even be open to dropping down unless they first understand how it's better for them to start small now than how it's better for them to start small now than it is for them to wait and do it all later. So get really great at helping people see the value in starting with something now and how that's better than waiting and doing it all later. The fear is they'll lose a discount or they won't get what they want. So the solution is that A, it's better to have a few Cutco pieces than a whole set of crap. B, it's normal for people to want it all, but not want to budget to get it all. C, this is why we have our build a set program and upgrade program. D, when they start with you as their concierge rep, you're able to personally help them build their ideal set at the pace that makes sense for them and help them retain the savings they get if they bought it all at once. That's the piece right there. So A, B, C, and then D is where you lock it in. And now they get on your side and you're in lockstep with them. And E, so if they see themselves eventually getting it, then they at least want to get something from you right now to get started. So they have you as their concierge rep. And so they can guarantee the best package pricing when they are ready to continue building their set in the future. So help your customers understand you don't lose the discount. But these are, I always say to people, you can't do this online. You can't do this out of the catalog. You can't call Cutco and do this. Even the college kids don't really understand how to do this. This is one of the benefits you get by having me as your personal concierge rep. So Brian, I'm just curious, like, do you want to work with me in the future as your Cutco guy? Yeah? Okay, great. So then what I would suggest is if you see yourself eventually getting it, and then you want to at least get something from me today, now to get started so that you become a preferred customer. And then I am locked in as your concierge rep moving forward. So I can guarantee the best package pricing when you're ready to actually go ahead and upgrade your set. And that's what I got for you guys. So have fun. Hope it helps.
Very nice, man. Very nice. So much good stuff there. Went in on some objections. Guys, let's pour it out in the chat. Pour one out for our homie Josh. What'd you hear? What'd you like? What do you think? What are you feeling right now? The notes, pages of notes I see. I love, that's my favorite thing to see it all.